from. Happy Friday. A very good evening to you all. Good evening. I hope you're well. Okay, Mike, New Jersey. Good. For the one asking, we are based in Springfield, Virginia. A very good evening to you all. I think I'm live on Facebook now. Facebook has given me a hard time for some time now. So I'm excited that we are live. Please let me know where you're joining in from. And then when you come in, please share so that others will join in. Let them know we are here. Happy Friday. I think we've had an interesting week so far. Hey, Samira. Is it the Samira that I know? I think so. You're joining in from Texas. Thank you. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're doing well. Good to see you. Good evening to you all. Please share, let others know we are here. Tag them. Tell them to come in with their immigration questions. Let's have some good time. I'll be taking as many questions as I can. Happy Friday, Samira. Thank you so much for joining. Facebook, please let me know if you can hear me. Let me know if you can see me. TikTok, I would love to know where you're joining in from. YouTube as well. But please share. Copy the link, share it on your timeline, share it on your feed. Invite others to join. Okay, what is this person saying? The message is simple. Should we go home right now? That's an interesting question. Someone is asking me on TikTok whether it is safe to go home now because there's so much happening in immigration, right? I don't blame you at all. But a very good evening to you all. I hope you're doing well. Please share. Copy the link, share it, let others join. Let us have a good time. I'll be answering as many questions as I possibly can. But I would love to know where you're joining in from. So please let me know. I'd love to know where my audience is based. And of course, I have a social media team. I have to let them know whether they're doing a great job or not. And so please let me know where you're joining in from. I would love to know your names. Let me know where you're joining in from. Okay, Michigan, I see New Jersey, I see New York, Virginia. The one in Virginia, please, we are based in Virginia. Stop by. Stop by the office. Oklahoma, Florence. Okay, nice. Thank you. I hope you're doing well. Please share. Let me share on, Jamaica. Nice. There's another Virginia, Maryland. Okay. Okay. I hope you're doing well. Let's see. Kenya. Oh, that's great. Kenya. Thank you. All the way from Kenya. Hi. I hope you're doing well. Because, yeah, some of us are scared today. Don't be scared. Please don't be scared. Okay, Samuel is watching from Oklahoma. There's Zimbabwe. There's Ghana. Well, I am from Ghana. So thank you for joining. All my Ghanaians. Thank you. I hope you're doing well. Please share so that others will join. I'm trying to post it on my feed. There's so much happening. I mean, with the memo that was issued, there's another Jamaica. That's good. Nanaya from Ghana. Awesome. Thank you. Oh, Ghana to Virginia. I see. Thank you so much for joining. Please share. Please share so that others will join. I'm trying to share the link to my feed as well. Facebook, can you hear me? Are we good on Facebook? Can you hear me? Can you see me? I would love to know, please. If I have any member of my social media team, please let me know. But Facebook, please let me know if you can hear me. Let me know if you can see me. Okay, let's see. I hope you're doing well. Very good evening. What is the topic? You give me the topic. That's Connecticut in the building. That's good. Okay, there's another Connecticut. There's Ghana. There's Sunyani. Oh, okay. Nice. Thank you. Please share. Massachusetts. Okay. New Jersey, Utah, Denver. Interesting. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining. I hope you're all doing well. Yes, hi. I'm doing very well. Thank you. I hope you're also good. But thank you so much for joining. Okay, that's New Jersey. So Facebook, TikTok, YouTube is somewhere. So I'm just flipping my head around. Pardon me for that. We have to do what we have to do. But thank you so much for joining. I hope you're doing well. I'll be giving you some immigration updates. And of course, one of the updates is going to be the memo that was released today, but it was dated yesterday. We've had lots of phone calls, lots of emails. I can only imagine the fear, but you're not alone. Okay, even US citizens are afraid, attorneys are concerned. So I can only imagine if you're undocumented, how you're feeling. You are not alone. Okay, you are not alone. I'm going to break the memo down as much as I possibly can. You know, I try not to sound all legalese because in my mind, I have to be able to, hey, Mr. Owusua, my classmate in Legon, Pastor Prince, thank you for joining. I hope you're doing well. I try not to when I come into these sessions, we don't have to sound all legalese because in my mind I have to break it down to a layman so you can understand what is happening. And so I understand the fear, I understand the concerns, but we'll be fine. So please calm down. But please share. Share. You know, I was sharing and then I put my phone down. So please share, and then invite others to join. But thank you so much for joining. Okay, there are a few more people joining in. TikTok is where the fun is all the time. TikTok is the place to be. Arizona. Okay, there's another Sunyani. Okay, Washington, D.C., just around the corner. There's Maryland, Baltimore. I traffic Baltimore a lot. I have a number of clients there, so I traffic Baltimore a lot. But thank you so much for joining. I hope you're doing well. We'll get straight into it. But I know the hot topic is going to be the new memo. I'll get to that. We'll allow other people to join in so that I get to that. But I'll give you some other immigration updates, and then we'll dive into that. But thank you so much for joining. My name is Akosua Kissi. I am an immigration attorney. I'm sure you all know that's why you're here. I'm the founder and principal attorney here at AB Legal Consult in Springfield, Virginia. We are licensed to practice across all 50 states. And so if you are not based in the DMV area, we still can represent you, okay? Marriage-based, naturalization, US citizenship, the employment-based EB1, EB2, and IW. If unfortunately you find yourself in removal proceedings, deportation, we are licensed to represent you in court, and so we can represent you. We have systems and structures in place that allows us to serve clients across all 50 states, and so distance shouldn't be a problem, so long as you have a smartphone. I think I've told this story before. I had this elderly client, and you know, come on in. We'll get to the hot topic. I know you all want to hear about the hot topic. We'll get to that very soon. I had this elderly client, woman in New York, and she was referred to me by a very good friend. And I remember having a conversation with her, and she said, well, I don't have a computer. I don't even know how to operate a computer. And I asked her what phone she was using. She said she was using an iPhone. And I remember laughing and said, you're very bougie. Well, that's all you need, right? All you need is a phone. Our systems, and we have systems and structures, and all our software are mobile friendly. You can be in bed and then give us the information. So long as you have whatever we need in your phone, simply upload it. And so across all 50 states, we can represent you. All right. So here Friday, we've had an interesting week. A few updates that I want to give you before I dive into the hot topic, which is the new I-485 discretion memo. Okay, I know there's so much going on, the fear, the panic, but I have always said that, yeah, some of these things that are being implemented has always been there. Okay, some of these things that are being implemented always been there. They have always been there, except that with everything happening now and how the Trump administration is handling things, it makes it a bit more scary. So I totally understand. We'll get to that. The first update that I want to give you is your immigration record. Okay. Listen, just before I came in here, maybe an hour before, a client of mine received a notice of intent to deny, which is the NOID, right? A notice of intent to deny. So this guy got married to a US citizen in court. They're actually getting married very soon. And like I have always said, the first form you complete when you are entering the United States, which is your DS-160, is the first immigration record that you're building or you are creating. And that record is here waiting for you. It doesn't disappear, it doesn't go anywhere. And so this client, out of desperation at the time, got a connection man. In Ghana, we call them connection men. And so he got someone to complete the forms for him. The forms have been completed. He was denied the visa. So he wasn't issued the visa in the first time was 2009. The second time was 2012. And through it all, he was using connection men, right? And so they were completing the DS-160 for him. And if you know anything about the DS-160, there's a part that asks whether you completed the form or someone assisted you. But connection men will never put their names there. And so, did you receive any assistance? And the connection man, of course, said no, right? And so every representation, every information in the form implicitly was from the applicant. And so fast forward from 2009, this person has been trying to enter the United States. And then finally in 2023, I beg your pardon, he gets the visa, he enters the United States, goes back home, and then come back in 2024. And so fast forward, he's met the love of his life, got married, files for his, in fact, I filed a marriage-based green card for him, but I didn't attend the interview because they were very confident that they were going to be okay. And so they decided to attend the interviews by themselves, and that is something I do not recommend. I have said this many times, I don't recommend that. But yeah, they attended the interviews themselves, and then after the interview, they called to let us know how the interview went, and I knew it didn't go well based on the stories they told me. Several months later, USCIS officers shows up in their house with additional questioning. And then today we received a notice of intent to deny. And then USCIS gives us a record of all the information he provided from 2009 until 2024. And most of the information, because it wasn't from him, he was contradicting himself through and through and through. And so he receives a notice of intent to deny, and we have just about 30 days to respond. So if you have followed me for a while, you have heard me say that immigration is credibility. Once USCIS questions your credibility, you are in trouble. And so you want to make sure that right from the get-go, which is from the National Visa Center, the very first form you complete. Come on in. After this, I'm going to talk about the new policy. So please come on in. I'm giving you this backstory so that we have others joining. And so if you have followed me for a while, you have heard me say that the first form you ever complete that sets the tone for your immigration record is the DS-160. Everybody completes a DS-160 or a DS-260. And so when you complete your DS-160 for the non-immigrant visa, this is where you start building your immigration record, right? And USCIS, National Visa Center, ICE, they are all record keeping agencies. Your records do not disappear simply because you got the visa and enter the United States. They're here waiting for you. And so whatever information you provide in your DS-160, because it is here waiting for you, you want to make sure that you're not contradicting yourself. Now, the moment you contradict yourself, then USCIS begins to question your credibility. And so if the USCIS misses out on your green card, and when you file for your green card, they're going to pick it up during your citizenship. But with everything happening now, they're picking it up faster even now. And so whatever information you provide to the National Visa Center, it is here, it's not going anywhere. Make sure that, one, you tell the truth. Number two, you're not contradicting yourself. The moment you realize that you have made a mistake, I mean, life is happening at a fast speed, right? And life is happening to everybody. And so if at any point in time you have provided an information and then you contradict yourself, it's important that you speak with an attorney. Well, speak to me, retain me, and then let's work something out. Okay. So now that's out of the way, just like the icebreaker, let's get into the memo. So the USCIS has issued a new I-485 policy memo. And see, I'm not the attorney who is going to instill fear, but I'm going to tell you as is. The truth is that, so the memo basically says that adjustment of status is a matter of discretion and administrative grace. That has always been the law. That has always been there. Immigration, nobody has the right to an immigration benefit. It's a privilege. That is what the law says. And so that has been there. I understand the fear, I understand the concerns, and I'm going to dive into why I am even concerned as an attorney. But right from the get-go, I want you to know that immigration benefits has always been discretionary. Nobody has the right to, nobody's entitled. It's actually a privilege. That's what the law says. And so I understand the concerns. I understand the fear, the panic, and all that. Is it legitimate? Absolutely, because of how it's going to be implemented. And I'm going to dive into that. But I want you to know that immigration benefits has always been discretionary. Nobody has a right to it. Nobody's entitled to it. And it's a privilege. That's what the law says. Is it actually a privilege? But that's what the law says. And so that is no new. Let me throw that in there. That is no new. Anyway, what is this memo about? So I'm going to break it down. I made a whole PowerPoint notes here. So I'm going to break it down in layman terms so that you all understand. And after, I'll take some questions. So what is the memo about? So the memo that was released, it was dated yesterday, but released today, focuses on adjustment of status. If you know anything about the adjustment of status, it is the process that allows immigrants already in the United States to apply for a green card. So there are two ways to get a green card. You either adjust or you undergo consular processing. Okay, you either adjust or you undergo consular processing. This memo dives deeper into adjustment of status and consular processing. But these are the two ways to get a green card. You either adjust or you undergo consular processing. And so this memo hones in or focuses on the adjustment of status. And the adjustment of status is commonly used by marriage-based applicants, employment-based applicants, certain humanitarian applicants, and then people who are adjusting through family petitions. And so I hope we get what the memo is about. Now, what is the USCIS saying with this memo? What are they trying to communicate to us through this memo? So the USCIS is reminding us that just because a person qualifies for a green card does not mean the USCIS must approve it. And this is where discretionary comes in. Like I said earlier, immigration benefits has always been discretionary. Now, I understand that it's a bit more heightened now. One, because of the times we find ourselves, thanks to President Trump and his administration. And then number two, how immigration is now being handled. There's a pause on adjustment. There's a pause on immigrants' visas. Initially, when the directives for the pause was first issued, it was geared towards the consular processing, and then those that are trying to get visa, basically in U.S. consular abroad. But then quickly we realized that the pause was also affecting people that were physically present here. So I understand the legitimate fear and concern. Am I concerned? Absolutely. But I can assure you that by Monday, you're going to see lots of attorneys come together, American Immigration Lawyers Association Litigation Benefits Committee coming together, and then other organizations are going to file lawsuits. That definitely you should be aware is going to happen. And so I understand the concerns, but again, please remember that immigration benefits has always been discretionary. Now, the memo is emphasizing that, number one, adjustment of status, like I said earlier, is a discretionary benefit. Number two, it is a privilege. And number three, the memo says that it is an extraordinary form of relief. Now, what does that mean? So number one, the memo is basically saying that adjustment of status is discretionary benefits, which has always been. It is not a new law. It has always been there. Number two, it's a privilege. It has always been there. I think what is, and this is not even new, but what has now become popular is the term extraordinary form of relief. Now, what does that mean? So the USCIS is basically saying that they're going to consider people that have filed for, or that are going to file for the adjustment of status based on special discretionary benefits. So they're going to consider or approve adjustment of status based on special discretionary benefits rather than approving it because someone automatically deserves it. No, nobody automatically deserves an approval. Okay. And again, it ties back to what I said. That has always been the law. But because previous administration, and I'm not saying this because I'm a Trump supporter, but I'm just stating the facts. Let me throw that out there before I'm tagged that way. No, the law has been the law. The law has been there. Immigration benefits has always been a privilege. And then USCIS officers have always exercised their discretion. Now, what does discretion mean in simple terms? What does discretion mean? Now we know what the memo is about. We know what the memo is communicating. But what does discretion mean in simple terms? Number one, discretion means that the USCIS officers are now going to place great weight on subjective factors when deciding whether or not to approve a petition. That's basically it. In my opinion, I'm not trying to take the fear away, but that has always been there. Officers have always exercised discretion. So, I mean, even if your marriage is real, your petition is approved, or your priority date is current, the USCIS may still ask some questions. And this is where the problem is. The USCIS may still ask some questions in order to exercise their discretion. And what is worrying about some of the questions they're going to ask is visa overstay. Most people overstay their visas before they are able to adjust. Let me break it down. When you enter the United States, classic example, a B1, B2, that is a non-immigrant intent visa. And so when you enter the United States on a B1, B2, and you change your mind, you have to establish an immigrant intent. And you cannot establish an immigrant intent within the first 90 days, right? It is after the first 90 days that you're able to establish that intent. And so when you enter the United States and then you're given 6 months, and then you spend the first 90 days, which I believe is 3 months. If I get it wrong, forgive me, I'm not a mathematician, I'm a lawyer. Very few lawyers know math. And so you enter the United States and you need to, on a B1, B2, and you need to establish your intent to remain here. you're doing that within the first 90 days. So within the first 90 days, you can't get married. That is, if you put yourself on the dating market and you fall in love with a nice US citizen, you won't be able to do anything within the first 90 days. You only establish intent to remain here after your first 90 days. And there's no way you would be able to build your evidence, file your petition, submit your petition, and get an approval within the last 90 days, which is the last 3 months. Now, in these times, and even previously, if you stayed here for about 5 months, chances are you won't be able to enter again, because if you're given 6 months on your I-94 and you spend 5 months here, that is a problem. I even have clients that were here for just 3 months, and the moment they exited the country, their visas were revoked. And so the major issue, which is a problem now, is visa overstay. What the USCIS is trying to do is that if you overstay your visa, then the officers can now exercise their discretion whether or not to approve your green card, and that is the problem. It's not that it is discretionary that you get a green card or not. That has always been there. The law has always been clear on that immigration benefits is purely discretionary. No, just like you're trying to get a visa from abroad, and then you have all the supporting evidence or documents. And sometimes the consular officers don't even ask you any question. They just look at your documents. Can I have your document? They just look at your documents, and then they deny the visa. Or sometimes they engage you without looking at your documents, and then they deny you the visa. That is discretion. And so what USCIS officers are saying with a memo is that now we are going to exercise discretion. So if they were exercising their discretion, let's say previous administration, exercising their discretion at maybe 50%, thanks to President Trump and his administration, they're going to exercise that same discretion at 100%. And so if you have overstayed your visa, I have attended interviews with clients that had overstayed their visa. In fact, almost all my clients have overstayed their visas. They overstayed their visa, we get in there, and then we are asked, how long have you been here? And then we simply amend the form, we sign, and then they still get their green cards. But now what USCIS officers are going to do is that if you have overstayed your visa, then they're going to exercise discretion whether or not to grant you the green card. So it's not automatic that the fact that you qualify, that your marriage is real, you have enough evidence to prove that your marriage is bona fide, or you have kids with your spouse, and all that does not necessarily mean that automatically you're going to get a green card. That is what the memo is saying. So the memo is going to empower, or is empowering USCIS officers to exercise their discretion in a heightened level. That's it. That's it. And so USCIS are going to exercise their discretion and ask questions like, have you violated any status? So listen, for people that enter the United States on a B1, B2, I am an immigrant. I do understand. I tell my clients that, listen, when you come in and you speak with your hands, you do sign language, or you speak with your feet, I get it. I'm an immigrant. I know most immigrants enter the United States, and sometimes you just have to work, right? Now, for marriage-based applicants, unauthorized work, visa overstay are mostly waived. But now with this memo, what USCIS is saying is that the officer that is going to review your petition is going to exercise their discretion whether or not to approve. Even for employment-based, you cannot overstay your visa and then engage in unauthorized work and still get a green card under the EB1 or the EB2 and IW, right? But for marriage-based, these were waived. But now, with a memo that has been issued, USCIS officers are going to exercise their discretion on a heightened level. And so they would choose to approve your green card or issue a green card. And that makes it quite worrying. Well, not quite worrying, very worrying. And so for those that work, I mean, immigrants are smart. So if you decide to work, hopefully you're not leaving cracks, right? You're not leaving loopholes. And whilst I'm here, for those that think you can work with your ITIN, you have to be mindful. Okay, you come in, and then you get an item number, and then you think you can work with that. Please be mindful, okay? Be very mindful. And so USCIS officers are now going to exercise their discretion on that. And if they don't issue the green card, what you're saying is that you have to undergo consular processing. And undergoing consular processing means that you have to exit the country. Let me tell you the danger of that. If you overstay your visa and then you exit the country, that is going to trigger a ban. And so the fact that USCIS officers are saying that we're going to exercise our discretion whether or not to approve people that have overstayed their visa, people that were not authorized to work but did work, and then people that have violated the status of their visa, like the non-immigrant visas, B1, B2, visas F1, and other visas. What USCIS is saying is that they're going to force you to undergo consular processing. But when you exit the country, it's going to trigger a ban. And so that is the danger of the memo. But in terms of the exercise of discretion, it has always been there that no one is entitled to an immigration right, and that is a privilege. It has always been there. But the dangers is what I'm highlighting now. If you overstay your visa, you engage in unauthorized work, and then you have prior denials, prior immigration filings that didn't go well, misrepresentations, that is a problem because USCIS is now going to exercise their discretion, which they have always done, except that this time, things that ordinarily would have been waived would no longer be waived. And then they expect you to do consular processing by exiting the country. And then once you do, it's going to trigger a ban. And so that is the danger of the memo. Now, what is the government's possible intent? So USCIS says that the purpose is to return to the original intent of immigration law, and then reinforce that immigrant visas abroad are the ordinary process. So getting an immigrant visa ordinarily, what you're saying is that the intent of Congress was for people to get their green cards, so get the visa, immigrant visa abroad, enter the United States, and then your green card will be mailed to you within 120 days, right? So for most of my clients that are abroad, that we do the EB1, EB2, and IW4, what they do is that after they have received the approval, they undergo consular processing, they get immigrants visas, enter the United States, and then their green cards are mailed to them. That is what Congress, that is what USCIS is saying, that is the intent. That was the intent of Congress, right? And that when it comes to adjustment of status, people that are here who are able to get their green card here, it's more of an extraordinary form of relief. So that is not the norm. That's what the memo is basically saying. This is me not trying to be legalese. That is not the ordinary norm, right? That's not the norm. That's not what they're supposed to do. So the norm, or what is normal or ordinary, is the fact that you get your immigrant visa abroad, you enter the United States, and then your green cards are mailed to you. Again, I want to be clear that the law has always been there. But with everything happening now and the fact that USCIS officers are looking to exercise discretion, which they had always done, except that you're going to do it on a heightened level, that makes it very concerning. It's not as though the USCIS is implementing something that has not been there. But then the ability to exercise their discretion on a heightened level, or the scrutiny level being very high, is what is concerning. And then the fact that you're going to insist that people undergo consular processing is the danger here, because undergoing consular processing is going to trigger a ban if you have overstayed your visa here. That is a problem. Okay. And so I'm not trying to water down, let me throw that in. I'm not trying to water down what is happening. I'm only trying to explain and then also let you know the dangers of this memo. All right, so who may be affected? I think I've already mentioned that. People with visa overstay. And again, almost every immigrant overstayed their visa. And so rest assured, there's going to be lawsuits. That is coming definitely from Tuesday. I know this weekend attorneys are going to spend time getting together and then working on filing lawsuits. So that alone is reassuring, because if most immigrants overstay their visa before they're able to adjust, then what President Trump and his people are saying is that everyone should leave, right? Because these officers are going to exercise their discretion, and that is going to be a problem. Nobody wants that. Okay. So people that have overstayed their visa, that means that you have violated the status of your visa. And then if you are issued a visa that does not authorize you to work, again, B1, B2, you have violated the status of your visa. If I say this all the time, if you enter the United States in a B1, B2, and then you work, and there's no evidence of you working, then you're good, right? But if you work with a B1, B2, you enter on a B1, B2, and then you work, you have violated the status of your visa. If you're on F1, and for my F1 students, my clients, I tell them, you're not authorized to work a certain number of hours. You're not authorized to do full-time job. For those doing DoorDash, Uber Eats, Uber, and all that, they know. For those that follow me, they've heard me say this all the time. You are violating the status of your visa. That can be a problem. And then those that work without authorization. Okay. These are the people that are going to be affected as far as visa overstay is concerned. And then marriage-based green card applicants. So applicants with complicated immigration history, like my clients who received a notice of intent to deny today. Very complicated. I think that was the first story I told. From 2009 to 2025, he's used connection men through and through. And it's not as though the information the connection men provided in the DS 160 have been consistent. They kept changing. Parents, date of birth, country of citizenship, they kept changing. And then finally, it also changed when we filed his adjustment of status. Last week, in the live stream session, I said that when you come to me as an attorney, when you retain me as an attorney, and then you lie to me, it's as though you have gone to your doctor and then you've lied to your doctor. You're going to get the wrong diagnosis, and you don't want that. You don't want that at all. And so, and again, even before I get to what I was about to say, when you lie your way into the United States, I'm not advocating that you lie. But when you lie your way into the United States, make sure that you have a retentive memory to remember the lie many years down the line. Because when you lie, and you probably have heard this before, when you tell the truth, you don't have to remember what you said. But when you lie, you always have to remember. And so when you lie your way into the United States, and then finally you find yourself here and you're so excited, God has answered your prayer. And so I have a couple of friends who said, oh, the moment I come to the United States, I'm going to surrender and give my life to Christ. And so they come in here and then they finally repent. And so for every lie they've told, because they've now repented, they're telling the truth, meaning they are contradicting themselves based on what they said in the past. That is a problem, especially if you don't have any evidence to back the truth or the lie that you told. That is a problem. And so marriage-based applicants with those complicated immigration history and prior overstays, it comes back to visa overstay and then prior denials as well. And those that have ever been charged with misrepresentation and immigration fraud, that follows you, okay? For F1 students, USCIS may scrutinize immigrant intent. So again, when you enter the United States on a non-immigrant visa, F1, J1, B1, B2, you're saying that I am here for a very short time. That is the intent of that visa. I'm here for a very short time. Once I'm done with what I'm doing, I am exiting the country. But then you enter the United States and you are quickly looking for pathways to explore to get you a green card. That is moving from a non-immigrant visa intent to an immigrant visa intent. Now, with a memo, USCIS is saying that they're going to scrutinize that as well. So everyone, one way or the other, is going to get affected. And that is the danger of this memo. Okay, so you enter the United States, let's say you enter the United States on an F1, and then for the duration of time that you are here, you fall in love with a US citizen. The memo is saying that because your intent was to be here for a short time or to study, I mean, they're basically saying it's impractical to fall in love and get married, because by doing that, you are establishing an immigrant intent, which is a problem. Okay, which is a big problem. And so if you fall in love with a US citizen, implicitly, USCIS is saying that you should exit the country and undergo consular processing and not adjust your status here by getting a green card in the country, which is also another danger. And so does this mean that everybody will be denied adjustment of status in the United States? No. The memo does not eliminate, and I watched another attorney's live stream, and the attorney said that the memo eliminates adjustment of status. That is not true. The memo is not eliminating adjustment of status. That's not what the memo is doing. The memo is also not banning green cards. That is not the intent and the purpose of the memo. The memo, again, is not creating a new law. The law has always been there. Officers have always exercised their discretion. Okay, right from the time you try to get a visa from abroad, those officers that interview you back home are exercising their discretion. And I think I stated this already for those that just joined. An officer will talk to you and not look at your documents and deny you the visa. And then there are times an officer will not even look at your documents just by engaging you. I remember when I attended the interview for the first time in Ghana many years ago, the officer didn't look at my documents. I was in Legal level 200. The officer just asked me a few questions and we had a normal conversation. They didn't take my documents and then they issued the visa. And so that is the officer exercising their discretion. Discretionary standard has always been there. And so this memo is not creating any new law. Is it a bit harsh how they're trying to implement the law that has been there? It is not just a bit harsh, it is very harsh and it is unfair. And not only is it unfair, it is making legal immigration illegal, and that is a problem. It's not as though the memo is creating a new law. It is not. But come to think of it, and I think you won't like me for saying this, but if you overstay your visa, you've overstayed your visa, right? And that alone, overstaying your visa alone, can trigger removal or deportation. That is the law, right? But ordinarily, when you get married to a US citizen, and I'm not saying go get married to a US citizen, but ordinarily, when you put yourself on the dating market and then you get married to a US citizen, you should be able to adjust because you're here. Now, this memo is trying to separate families. So ordinarily, adjustment of status allows you to be here, you get work authorization to work, and then you get to be with your family. But the memo is implying that you exit the country, and that is a problem. And so the memo is not creating a new law, and it does not automatically deny all applicants. What it does is that it signals that USCIS officers may begin applying much stricter discretionary standard, and that is where the danger is. Okay. Now, when does this policy take effect? So the memo was issued yesterday, May 21st, 2026, and USCIS policy memoranda generally become effective immediately unless otherwise stated. And so that is safe to say that USCIS officers are going to begin implementing a stricter discretionary review when processing our applications. And so why is this a big deal? So for decades, adjustment of status has been one of the most important protection for immigrants that are already in the United States. And so adjustment of status allows people to stay with their families here. That is, if you're physically here, you're present here. Like I said, you undergo adjustment and then If you're abroad, then that's when you're doing the consular processing. And so adjustments ordinarily allows people to continue working in the United States and then avoid dangerous and lengthy processing by undergoing consular processing abroad. And so the fear now, I mean, personally, my concern, my fear, and I know I speak on behalf of all immigrants and all attorneys as well. The fear is that consular backlogs are already massive. We already know that there's a pause on it's like almost every country, right? And so if the memo, which it is implying that officers are going to exercise their discretion and then get people to undergo consular processing when there's already a backlog of consular processing, that is a problem. And even in these times with the visa pause, that it means that USCIS is trying to separate families. And please be rest assured, by Tuesday, you're going to see lots of lawsuits flying left, right, back, center. That is going to happen. And so please be rest assured. And then visa issuance delays are increasing. We already know that. Um, Administrative processing is worsening, and then some countries are facing heightened visa vetting and then visa pause. And so these are the big deals. These are the dangers when it comes to the adjustments and then the memo that is being issued. And so I want you to walk away knowing that number one, the law has not changed. The law has always been there, except that how the USCIS is trying to implement the law is unfair, is unjust. And I believe that there's going to be lawsuits because by implementing this memo, which there's no effective date, and so it has already taken effect, means that the USCIS is trying to separate families. And for a country like the United States that is built on immigrants, that is a problem. And so please walk away from this session knowing that it's not going to it's not pleasant, it's not fair, but there's going to be lawsuits flying in, and there's no new law that is being imposed or created by the memo. Number three, USCIS officers are not saying that everyone is going to get denied. No, they're saying that they're going to exercise their discretion. And I think I've stated the dangers in there. But listen, fingers crossed. I think everything will be fine. I think everything will be fine. Yeah, I'll take some questions now. I believe I have explained the memo in great detail. I have broken it down and to layman terms, and so everybody understand. I tried not to sound all legalese, and so I believe everybody understands. And it's just not fair. It's just not fair trying to separate families and then not even allowing people. My major concern is the fact that if you impose this and then say people should leave the country, what you're saying is that they won't be able to come back because of the ban, right? Because once you overstay your visa, then you exit the country, it's going to trigger at least a 10-year ban, depending on how long you've overstayed your visa. And so this comes back to one thing that I have been saying all the time. Don't just enter the United States without a plan and strategy. Well, I'll get there. I'll get there. Don't just enter the United States without a plan and a strategy. Okay. But I'll take some questions and then I'll give you one last update. So please stay for that last update. I promise you, it's going to be exciting. I'll take some questions and then I'll give you one last update and then I'll get out of your way. I hope you've had a wonderful time with me explaining, and I think I want to believe that it's much more clear, and you're not too afraid. I can assure you that yes, there are people that are going to be affected, but I believe that people that are going to be affected are those with prior denials, um, people that have lied in their immigration petitions, and USCIS picked up on that. So as of, I believe, last month, USCIS have broadened. So biometrics is no longer going to be basic, right? They're checking the FBI database now to see whether you have any records at all. And so this administration came with a heightened level of scrutiny, and with everything that is happening now, it is geared towards the same thing, heightened level of scrutiny as far as your immigration history is concerned. So many years ago, when you filed for an immigration benefit and you even get a denial, USCIS was not going to consider the prior filings, but now they are. Now USCIS will check whether you had any prior filings, why it was denied, how you entered the United States, whether you have contradicted yourself. And these things were there. The only concern that I have, and then many other people have, is the fact that the USCIS always are trying to impose on us that, okay, when we exercise our discretion, then you have to exit the country. That is when it's going to trigger a ban. But previously, they were exercising their discretion already. But once your petition is denied, you can simply refile. The danger now is that when you refile, they go back to check your previous filing and then the basis of the denial. And so it's important that you get it right the first time. Don't gamble your immigration journey. Don't gamble the application of your immigration. Don't. Get it right the first time and always have a strategy. I mean, we're immigrants, we are smart, right? Come in with a strategy, implement that strategy, get it right the first time. Work with an attorney who understands like me. Work with an attorney who has the lived experience like me. I have always said this. You may know the law, you may be licensed, but you should also have the lived experience as an immigrant when you come in here trying to navigate the system. I think you come with something like me. You come with something. Not only do you know the law, not only are you licensed, but you come with an extra. And so work with people like that. Work with me. Let's get a strategy for you and then get it right the first time. Okay. Now, if I have a client who USCIS exercises their discretion, and so they have to go back home, am I going to let them go back home immediately? No. I'll make sure that we file some waiver, because if my client has overstayed their visa and then they just exit the country, then it's going to trigger a ban, right? But then once we file the waiver and then get the waiver approved, then it will be safe for my clients to exit the country, because that waiver is going to ensure that his overstay or her overstay does not trigger a ban. And so there are ways around it. You just have to work with someone. You have to work with an attorney who knows what they're doing, who knows the law, comes with that addition, which is the lived experience as an immigrant. And then one day, my live stream session will be telling my own immigration journey, my own story, so that you understand why I do what I do and why I do what I do with so much passion and empathy. Because if you don't have the lived experience and you know the law, I don't think that is enough. So be rest assured, there's going to be lots of lawsuits. I know President Trump and his people are doing the most, but let's all hang in there. We'll be fine. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so how does this new USCIS directive apply to H-1B visa, which has it's the same. It is the same, except that the H-1B that has a dual visa, you are good. So long as you don't violate the status of your visa. This is Richard Bennett. So long as you don't violate the status of your visa, make sure that you don't do things that your visa does not allow you to do. Comply with the strict regulations of your visa. Because so long as you violate the status of your visa, then you're opening yourself up. And okay, are we back up on Facebook? I thought we just got disconnected. Can someone please let me know if you're back on Facebook? For immigrants that someone is messing up with Facebook. For those that come in on a B1, B2, I'm not judging anybody. I'm a typical immigrant. I do understand. You enter the United States on a B1, B2, and you have to work because sometimes you're the breadwinner of your family. Okay, we are back. Thank you, Mr. Ado. So long as you're not leaving cracks, if you're not caught, you know, that's hint, hint, right? And so you want to be mindful. You have to be very strategic, and then come in with a plan. I think I made a post about a month ago with this World Cup coming. People will try to enter the United States and quickly, stay here. Come in with a strategy. Come in with a plan. Come in with a plan. It's gone with the days where everybody was doing marriage-based green card because of the lack of information. Now, information is accessible. Book a consultation with me. Let us explore your pathways so that you don't enter the United States without a plan and strategy. And for those that are already here, listen, the USCIS, yes, they are trying, but again, remember that they've always exercised their discretion. That is not new. Visa overstay, my advice is that if you overstay your visa, make sure you're not caught working, especially if you enter on a B1, B2. That is the danger. You don't want that. You don't want that because if the USCIS officers are going to exercise their discretion, I'm sure there's going to be a standard, right? If it's a visa overstay, it's still a problem. But these are things again under marriage base they were waived. Now with this new memo, we don't know. But again, walk out of here knowing that there's going to be lawsuits. So it's not going to be a walk in the park for them, as it were. Now, criminal records. I believe that USCIS officers would impose this memo on people, immigrants that have not only overstayed their visas, but you have a visa overstay, you have unauthorized work, you have criminal records. That's the problem. You're telling them, okay, take me away. You don't want that. And so, yes, they're going to exercise their discretion, but it's not a new law. It has always been there. Fingers crossed, lawsuits that are going to be filed in the coming weeks is going to get President Trump and his people to get their heads properly screwed on, but everything will be okay. Okay, everything will be okay. I'll take a few more questions and then I will be out. Okay. So hello, I am on H1B. Can you help me get a green card? Please call me. Call me at 703-705-9905. I am also going to post our booking link. Please schedule a session with me and then we can explore your pathway, okay? The pathways that can get you a green card. I have posted our booking link there. So someone is asking whether this affects VAWA applicants. This affects everybody. The memo affects everybody. It affects everybody. It's not selective, as it were. It affects everybody, unfortunately or sadly. And so, okay. So someone is asking on TikTok, what if I have overstayed my visa? Should I leave? No, don't leave. You've already overstayed your visa. If you don't have any pending petition, and then you exit the country, that is going to trigger a ban. You don't want to do that. So should you exit the country? No. Should you file? Yes, go ahead and file. Go ahead and file, but file with a strategy. Give me a call. Please give me a call. Book a consultation with me. Head to our website, ablegalconsult.com, and then schedule a consultation with me. Let me understand your history, your background, and then I'll be able to advise you. I had a consultation with a client, I think last week, and the client was asking whether they can go ahead and file their citizenship. Now, based on the person's record, I said to the clients, it's not a good time. You know, because of everything happening with green card holders, people think it is now safe to become US citizens. It is really not, depending on your background, depending on your history. I know people that omitted certain critical information, and USCIS overlooked it when they got their 2-year green card. It was overlooked, or they missed it when they filed to remove the condition and then got the 10-year green card. But I can assure you, when you file for your citizenship, all those things are going to pop up. And so you have to file with a strategy. Give me a call, 703-705-9905. That same number has a WhatsApp presence, 703-705-9905. Book a consultation, head to our website, book a consultation, and let us explore your immigration history. Let me make diagnosis for you, whether or not you should file, how you should file, what pathway to file. Okay. But please be rest assured that yes, officers are going to exercise their discretion. Okay, so for the one calling, don't do that. I'm on live stream. Yes, officers are going to exercise their discretion, but it's not going to be that easy for them as well. Okay. The fight is on. I read someone's post and the person says that we should pump the litigation machine and then we should get enough fuel and gas for the litigation machine. And that's exactly what is going to happen from Tuesday. I had a friend of mine who is so I am part of the litigation benefits committee for the American Immigration Lawyers Association. And one of my colleagues called me today and then said that, well, Monday is a holiday, but we're meeting. And then I said, yes, ma'am, I'm going to be there. So we're meeting on Monday, and this is one of the things that is going to be discussed. Okay. And so I can assure you that from Tuesday, lawsuits are going to be filed. But should you still file your immigration petitions? Absolutely. But don't just file casually. Okay. Don't just file casually. We have to file with a plan. We have to file with a strategy. If it's not a good time, you won't know. It's an attorney who would know. So you give me a call, book a consultation, and then let us discuss. Then I can advise you. But when you come to me, please don't lie. Don't lie to me. Okay. Okay. For the one that likes my glasses, thank you. I think you should be focused on the issue at hand. Okay. Please, does this affect my marriage-based green card that is pending? Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Okay. It does. Unfortunately, it does. So for F1 student, no matter what you have to do, you have to go back home to adjust, even if you didn't overstay. That is what the memo is trying to say. Okay. Unfortunately, that is what the memo is trying to say, because your F1 status is a non-immigrant intent visa. And so the memo is saying that if you're trying to establish an immigrant intent, then you have to undergo consular processing. But again, be rest assured that we are going to fight back. Immigration attorneys, organizations, everybody's going to fight back. And so rest assured. Should you still file your petitions? Please do. Please do. Okay. Please do. Okay. So if you have no criminal record and no visa overstay, will you be okay? Okay. It depends. Okay. It depends. How did you enter the United States? What visa classification or what class of visa did you have when you entered the United States? Like I said, if you enter the United States on a B1, B2, you would definitely overstay your visa. Definitely overstay your visa. If you don't overstay your visa, by the time you are filing your petition, you would overstay your visa before a decision is made. That's what I would say. If you are very strategic, So let's say you and your partner um, have been dating for a while. If you and your partner have been dating for a while, chances are you have some of the evidence. You have pictures already. You have friends and family that will be willing and ready to give you letters of support to show that they are aware about your marriage, right? They know you guys have been together for some time, and then they believe in good faith that you intend to spend the rest of your life together. So those are two pieces of evidence that you already have: pictures, and then friends and family. Now, if you were abroad, chances are you have some properties or property or something that you can have your spouse's name on. That is evidence number three, right? And so if after 90 days of being here, you get married, then you have your marriage certificates as well. So with these four pieces of evidence, again, remember that it's not the quantity or the number of evidence you submit to the USCIS like it is the quality of evidence. You can get a joint insurance by your 91st day in the United States, a life insurance by your 91st day in the United States. And so this puts you to about five pieces of evidence, and these pieces of evidence are strong enough. Can you go ahead and file your petition? Absolutely. And so remember that, like I said earlier, it is in being strategic. You have to have a strategy. You have to have a plan. Don't be casual with your immigration petitions. That is a recipe for disaster. And so if you're able to, yeah, maybe for a bank account, even for a bank account, if your US citizen spouse has an active bank account that has active transaction, they can simply put your name on and that should work. You know why? Because with your B1, B2 visa, you're not authorized to work. And so no USCIS officer will be looking through the transaction to see if you are contributing anything in there. That is a safe piece of evidence. And so if you're coming in with a strategy, then what is going to happen is that you have about six pieces of evidence. Let's say you come in with a B1, B2, and you have this person that you've always been talking to. I have come up with how you can come up with six pieces of evidence. And so you can file your petition by, let's say, the 93rd or 94th or 95th day of being here. So by the time you're filing your petition, you haven't overstayed your visa. Now it's up to the USCIS to make a decision before you overstay your visa. Are they still going to exercise their discretion on that? No. And that is where strategy comes in. So there's always a way. You just have to work with a smart person like me. So give my office a call, 703-705-9905. Okay. Okay. What happens if I get a job in the US when I finish my PhD in a year? Does that mean I can't work? It doesn't mean that you cannot work. When you get a job, make sure that your employer is willing to sponsor you, and then they start working on that immediately. Okay. Talk to your employers. Again, don't be casual about your immigration benefits, your immigration journey. Don't be casual about it. Okay. For the one asking that question, I have a proposed strategy for you. So please pick the booking link. And this is Shadrach Yate. Pick the booking link, which has been posted on there by my social media team, and then schedule a session with me. Our office number is 703-705-9905. Listen, you have to be strategic. Okay, what if F1 to H1B or EB2 NIW or EB1 with no violation? So again, your F1 status based on the memo, your F1 visa is a non-immigrant visa, is a non-immigrant intent visa. The EB2 NIW EB1 is an immigrant intent visa. And so according to the memo, you're going to be scrutinized. According to the memo, USCIS is saying that if you come in on a certain immigrant intent, which is a non-immigrant intent, and then you're trying to switch to an immigrant intent, then you should undergo consular processing. That is what the memo is saying, right? And so you don't necessarily have to overstay your visa for the memo to be imposed. Even as an F1 student, the memo can be imposed. Again, it's going to be based on the discretion of the officer. Okay, all right. Someone says, what if I am on H1B now? Okay, I don't understand your question. Make your question clear. Okay, did you mean criminal records from their countries or criminal records here in the United States? I mean criminal records here, not from your country, but criminal records here in the United States. Okay. So what if I got married in 2025 and just had a baby? This morning I had I prepped two of my clients whose interview is coming up, and I shared with them. I filed immigration petition for a couple that had nothing but just a child. Nothing. And this is Trump's administration. Nothing but just a child. And they got the approval. They got their green card. And so if you get married and the only evidence you have is a baby, in fact, that establishes that you intend, according to them, according to immigration USCIS that are very smart, according to them, that helps you establish that you are in a bona fide marriage. I don't know why, but that's the law, right? So if you have only a child and you have nothing else, that's fine. Okay, what of a J1? Can I still get a waiver? That's a very good question, Benedicta. I know that most J1 teachers especially are getting lots of denials for their waivers. And again, it's the exercise of discretion. I spoke to a J1 teacher who said I gave them everything. And this is way before the memo. I said to them that, well, immigration benefit is purely discretionary. And so again, this memo is not creating any new law. It's trying to implement or impose, well, implement, not impose, implements the law in a more stricter way, which is harsh, and that is wrong. But they are not imposing any new law, as it were. So our J1 teacher is going to get waivers. Discretionary comes in, okay? Discretionary, discretionary, discretionary. Okay, what if I went from F1 to H1B and now married to a US citizen? I am on H1B now, but I entered on F1 visa and married to a US citizen. I think I've answered this question in a different way. It's the same. So your F1 is a non-immigrant visa intent status, right? Your H1B is dual. So maybe in your case, it helps because H1B is dual intent. And then, of course, getting married to a US citizen is an immigrant intent. So moving from H1B to the marriage-based may help. And I remember that when the ban was issued for the immigrant visas, right here on Facebook and TikTok, I said to people that qualified for the EB1 that, you know what, don't wait for the EB1. Let's file O1 visa for you because those visas are being issued. So get an O1 visa, come to the United States, and then you can work legally. And then later we can work on your EB1. There's always a way, okay? Always a strategy, always. All right, I'll take a few more questions. It's almost 7, and then we'll call it a night. Okay. All right. If you're already engaged in unauthorized work with your item, can you stop now? Yeah, you can stop. But if it's already in the system, it's already in the system, right? It comes back to discretionary. If an officer picks up on it, because we know that as of last year, the IRS was sharing information to the USCIS, and so if it's already in the system, it's already there. And committing a crime one day and committing the same crime 100 years is still a crime, right? So I wish you all the best. For the one that asked that question, I wish you all the best. Okay, all right. So let me highlight a few things here about the new the new memo that was issued, and then I'll see there are a few more questions, and then I'll be out of your way. All right. So again, the new memo is not eliminating adjustment of status. Please go away with that. A few people have reached out, lots of emails, and then the business WhatsApp has about 40 messages of the same question. So no more adjustments. So no adjustments of status has not been eliminated by the memo. The new memo does not ban green cards, and then it does not create a new law. It does not automatically deny all applicants. Okay, it doesn't do that. Now, it does signal that USCIS officers may begin applying much stricter discretionary review as far as your petitions are concerned. And again, discretionary benefits or discretionary review has always been there. No one is entitled to an immigration benefit. It is not a right, the law says. It is a privilege. And so, please, adjustment of status has not been eliminated. If you didn't get anything from the session, please remember that I said that adjustment of status has not been eliminated. Not at all. Okay? It has not been eliminated. USCIS is just trying to impose a stricter discretionary review. And the consequence of that, or the repercussion of that, is that they're trying to get lots of people, to undergo consular processing, especially if you have overstayed your visa. And so ordinarily, if you overstay your visa and you exit the country, that triggers a ban. And so if the USCIS officer who reviews your petition exercise their discretion and denies it and say, no, you should undergo consular processing, my advice to you is to make sure you retain me to file a waiver for you. And then once the waiver is approved, is when you can exit the country. Without a waiver being approved, when you exit the country, it's going to trigger a ban, at least a 10-year ban, depending on how long you have overstayed your visa. And that can be a problem. You don't want that. You don't want that. And so green card or adjustment of status has not been eliminated. Green cards have not been banned. The memo is not creating a new law, and it's not automatically denying all applicants. It's just, well, not just, it signals that USCIS officers are going to apply a much stricter discretionary review. And the dangers or the fear, legitimate fear, of which I am concerned about, is that consular backlogs are already massive. Visa issuance delays are increasing. And so if the USCIS officers exercise their discretion and say you should go back home, that's going to be a problem. And then administrative processing is worse. Then some countries are already facing heightened vetting and visa pauses. And so imposing that is not good, right? It's going to separate families. So someone has been here for a very long time. They've put themselves on the dating market, falling in love with a US citizen. And then USCIS says that, well, because you've overstayed your visa, we are exercising our discretion based on the memo, undergo consular processing. What they're doing is that they're separating families, and that is not good. Now, you know that when you file adjustment of status, you get a work authorization. Now, USCIS, based on the memo, you don't even get to work at all. You have to exit the country. And that is a legitimate fear. It's a legitimate concern. And so whether your marriage is real, whether your petition is approved, or your priority date is current, we are all going to face the same thing. Again, the law has not changed. Adjustment of status has always been a privilege. Oh, immigration benefits has always been a privilege. And then officers have always exercised their discretion. And no one is entitled to any immigration benefits. And so please, discretionary review has always been there. So please calm down. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. The law is not fair. President Trump and his administration are violating the law, right? And I know some of you here support President Trump and his administration, but that's fine. It's not fair. It's not right, because you don't get to separate families like that. But again, walk out of here knowing that lawsuits are going to, at least I have told you that I am part of the Litigation Benefits Committee, DC, and we have a meeting. And it's one of the topics that we'll be discussing. And so we will be suing. Other organizations will be suing. And so please calm down. But also know that officers have always exercised their discretion. It has always been there. Yeah. So the last update that I wanted to give you is that, please, I want you to head to Amazon and purchase my book, The Immigrant's Guide. Gone were the days where we enter the United States with no strategy. And then with everything happening now, it's now very important that you have a strategy. So this book is for people here in the United States and those that are looking to enter the United States. Whether you are here or you're looking to enter the United States, you need a strategy. I bought every immigrant's guide on the market. I read all of them before I put mine together. And so this is the best immigrant guide on the market. It captures everything. It captures the strategies that you need, whether you are here or abroad. It captures some pathways. It captures real issues that immigrants face. It also captures the culture shock that we have. I shared one, I think I shared it a couple of weeks ago, that I entered the United States knowing that gravy was tomato stew, right? Because I'm from Ghana, gravy is tomatoes, pepper, onion, oil, you know. And then I walk into a restaurant and I see gravy. And so in my head, oh, that's gravy. That's familiar. I want that. But what surprised me was I saw gravy and biscuit. And so in my head, I'm wondering, okay, gravy, tomato sauce, and biscuit? How am I going to eat that? But yeah, I did order it, and boy, oh boy, that was number one. I share a bit more. And so this book captures everything. It captures the importance of credit. When you come into the United States, you don't hear much about credit. And then when you hear credits, you think, oh, okay, I can swipe it and swipe it and swipe it, forgetting that you have to pay back. It captures a whole lot more, and also captures everyone's favorite marriage-based green card. It's on here. It's on Amazon. The digital copy is less than $5, and then the physical copy is less than $15. Please head to Amazon. So, you know, every Friday I come here and I give you information for free. I read your questions, I answer them. Please, I think it's only nice you support me. So please head to Amazon and purchase my book. I also have my personal cell phone number there. So for those that want my personal cell phone number, it's in there. If you want it, get it. I think my favorite part is chapter 6, which talks about experiencing your new citizenship. Okay, so I highlight a few things that you must do, and I also leave you with some final words. And so please head to Amazon. This is the best immigrant's guide on the market, and it's by me, Akosua Owusua. No one has that name on Amazon with this book. And so please, please, please head to Amazon and then support me. So on Wednesdays, I have a webinar. I have a webinar that we post on our social media pages. It's completely free. It's on Zoom, 5:30 Eastern Standard Time. It is not recorded. It's a very intimate session. People log in, unmute themselves, ask questions, and then I answer the questions. It's always fun to be there. And then please keep an eye on our social media pages. We have immigration clinic coming up. So I want to talk to you a little bit about the immigration clinic. Oh, so the picture on the book, immigrants, of course, right? Immigrants, yeah, immigrants. Thank you for capturing that. I do appreciate that. Everything about this book is, well, the knowledge is from an immigrant, right? But I'll talk a little. Someone has asked me to talk a little bit more about it. I will. But please keep an eye on our social media pages. We have an immigration clinic coming up. I want to talk to you a little bit about the immigration clinic. So with the immigration clinic, it's free. You don't have to pay anything to talk to me. You can schedule on Zoom. I'm going to give you 20 minutes each, or you walk into our office and then talk to me. I'll have my staff here. I'll have people here. Come in with your questions. Come in with your immigration issues. I'm going to answer every question. Now, if you decide to retain us on that day and then a day after, we'll give you the date, then you get a huge discount, but it's going to be for a short duration. You don't have to be in the DMV area. Like I said, I'm going to post my booking link there on social media, and it's going to be completely free. And so, but we're going to limit it to 20 minutes per session or per person. But if you're a married couple and then you want to speak with me, you're going to book a time slot, 20 minutes. We're going to be here for almost the whole day on that day. So please keep an eye on our social media pages. If you're not in the DMV area, you can use Zoom or Teams. But if you're in the DMV area and then you want to come in, we're going to post all the details out there. Please come in, talk to me. And then if you retain me, you get a discount. For the one that is asking for our numbers again, it is 703-705-9905. We also have a WhatsApp group page, and the WhatsApp group page is the same number. So that number I mentioned is our desk phone, but it has a WhatsApp presence for clients that are not in the country. Interestingly, even those here will still contact me on WhatsApp. Anyway, yes, that's the number, Nina. That's the number, 703-705-9905. I handle the WhatsApp page myself. I try to post tips and tricks in our group page. And then please, I think you should call the office if you urgently need to speak with me, because sometimes I don't have the phone, especially when I have to be in court or I'm meeting with clients. But then anytime you call the office line, I have my staff here. You always have someone pick up. But then the WhatsApp, if you call, sometimes depending on where I am, I may not be able to pick up. But yeah, I hope you've had a wonderful time. Enjoy your weekend. Happy Memorial Day weekend. Happy Memorial Weekend. And I'll be here next week, Friday. But I hope you are able to join me on the webinar on Wednesday if you have the time. But follow our social media pages and you're going to see the Zoom details there. But thank you so much for joining. Oh, 2 people said they got the book. Thank you. Thank you for purchasing the book. I am grateful. And please, after reading, make sure that you give me reviews. Okay. For the time, webinar is 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. 5:30 p.m. The number again is 703-705-9905. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a good night. Bye, guys.